KOTA territory. Welcome to First Sip here on our social media page. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, well, welcome. Sit down, take a seat, have a drink of coffee, pour yourself a nice cup. If not, hey, be careful wherever you're going this morning. If you are listening to us kind of through the live stream here on your commute to work or wherever you're going this morning. Either way, welcome. I'm Humberto de Sanchez.
And I'm Mimi Herrick.
And kind of talking a little bit about today, we're talking food budgeting and wellness rooms. Kind of tuned it back a little bit from 4 topics to 2, as it seems a little bit easier to kind of actually focus on 2 things rather than 4 things at once.
Delve into it, really.
Yes, trying to get a little bit more stats for you and kind of a little bit more helpful information as we go throughout the day. I mean, throughout the month, throughout the day, throughout the days, throughout the year. But kind of starting off, we're talking a little bit about food budgeting. Mimi, you brought this topic up to me yesterday, kind of being like focused on a little bit of this, and we did some good research here, at least from what I found. I was looking at different articles, found some good info from NerdWallet, and you found some good info from various other sources. Yep. I believe you said
New York Times and Monument Health.
Yep, so. Which is some good stuff that you should look into if you are curious about this topic. Again, our resources: New York Times, NerdWallet, and Monument Health. So start us off.
All right, so what I got from the New York Times were just some food budgeting tips, because it can feel a little bit stressful to go into the grocery store these days. I know I'm feeling it for sure. Mm-hmm. But one of the first tips they had was focus on cooking. Yes.
Oh man. Oh. easiest one, at least for me. I love to cook. I think on Good Morning Black Hills I mentioned a little bit that I cook most of my food at home. I don't really go out a lot with my partner, and it's just because first of all, we're not really big food fans outside from what we make for the most part, unless we're trying something new. If there's a new restaurant, we'll go out and try it for like the first couple of days and whatnot, see what the menu has to offer. But usually for the most part, we tend to eat indoors. Not saying that all the food around here is bad, because it's not. There's a lot of good food. A lot of good food around here. But it does kind of save us a little bit of money, especially with how expensive everything is, or is getting ready to be.
I am kind of the opposite. I am the queen of a frozen meal, or ordering food, which is not great for my wallet. So I do try and cook more, but I have to go with like pre-made stuff, or else it will be a huge mess in my kitchen. But another tip that they had was to eat less meat. I know that's, again, something you already kind of
Yes, I was gonna say, so my partner, my girlfriend, is pescatarian. So when it comes to meat, we don't usually eat like beef, I do whenever I go out, right? Whenever I do have the chance to go out, I usually eat meat. But if we're having a meal indoors, it's usually at home. It's usually either fish, and even that, it's like rarely. We usually have a lot of veggies, a lot of different meals with veggies. There is some ramen in there every now and then, but it's kind of like it just depends on the day, it depends on the week, kind of depends on how we're feeling. But again, it's usually like a treat. We don't really go out of our way, because it is expensive. I mean, especially just fish in general. Yes.
It really can be. And one way that I sort of work around that, because I also really like to eat fish, I eat it a lot, is like using canned or the bag tuna. Another thing you can do is canned or bagged chicken in water, the same sort of idea. I use that a lot when I make like oven nachos. Just throw some of the canned chicken, some taco seasoning, cheese, whatever else I have. And it's kind of my like struggle meal. I don't have much in the pantry, and I'm just throwing everything onto some chips and calling it a good meal for myself. But stuff like that. And then also tofu is a great protein option if you are looking to cut back on meat just because of the expense. Tofu ends up honestly usually being pretty cheap, so it's not a super hard thing to find. Another thing is to avoid wasting food, so doing things like leftover lunches, repurposing your leftovers into something else. Like I said, with my nachos, I'll just take whatever I have in the fridge and throw them on. And then, checking everything in your home to see what you have and what you don't have before you head to the grocery store.
Yeah, no, and I mean, those are amazing tips and tricks to kind of make sure that you're spending less on your wallet. And actually talking about your wallet, let's kind of talk a little bit about some of the statistics, some of the numbers here, right? We're looking at the average household or consumer unit spending on groceries annually is $6,053, as we mentioned on Good Morning Black Hills. And this is according to data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is the most recent data that they have. It was released last year, 2024. And this kind of works out to be $504 per month. which is a lot of money on food, especially if you're a family of 4, you know, a mom, dad, 2 kids, or however your family looks. However your family looks like. $504 a month, that can build
really
up.
Add up.
Yes,
yeah, for sure.
clearly. So kind of some ways that NerdWallet kind of gave us a little bit, and I mentioned it, I touched on it a little bit on the show, was the 50-30-20. 50% of your monthly after-tax income on needs, 30% on wants or entertainment, 20% on savings and debt repayment. So the kind of example they gave us was if your monthly take-home pay is $3,200, dividing that, how that looks divided, 50% being 1,600 of the needs goes to needs, right? Basic groceries, housing, transportation, stuff like that. And then the $960 goes to wants, meals out, entertainment, stuff that you want, right? Stuff that makes life fun.
It's all the fun stuff.
Yes, and then $640 of that, or in other words, 20% of that go toward savings and total loan repayments. Beyond the minimum repayments, that we're talking a little bit extra, you know, maybe not that minimum payment, but like a little bit more.
And saving up for an emergency fund, things like that, just in case something were to happen, you are prepared. You know, another way that you can kind of save money in the food department, at least, is couponing. Pay attention to what comes through your junk mail. I know that sometimes I just take it all out of my mailbox and throw it away, but if you look through it, sometimes you can find some gems for maybe some stores that you go to often or don't go to very often, and it's a great deal on something you need like laundry detergent or food.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's amazing deals around town here, whether it's at your local grocery store or, you know, one of the bigger name stores. Be on the lookout for those savings. They can help you out a lot, especially. But if you need any more help, I mean, the USDA, the Department of Agriculture, has various food plans for you if you need to look up some references. They have a ton of references on their website, you know, kind of monthly food plans that, again, like I said, you can use for guidance and grocery spending. The plans kind of estimate the average cost of various nutritional items, as well as various kind of plans if you kind of prefer that more grocery eating out like lifestyle, a little bit eating out, kind of frozen food lifestyle. But yes. They also have that too, in case you are curious and want to learn a little bit more. But yeah, and like I said a little bit earlier, as of this year, the USDA kind of estimates that a family of 4 on a thrifty plan, it can see spending about $992 a month on food.
Wow.
That's eating out. That's kind of all together. Okay. Age range between 20 and 50. 2 children, ages 6 to 8 and 9 to 11. So again, it can vary on how your family demographic looks like. And I mean, hey, especially with current prices and the current state of how everything's looking like, I would say I would recommend saving some money, budgeting a little bit better, especially if you like to budget. I would 100% grab that book again and start planning out your month or your weeks ahead, just to make sure you are A-okay in the finance department. Yeah, and I'm gonna kind of quick hit these last sort of tips. Know your grocery store, what you like, what your store brand options are. On that note, buy generic, self-explanatory. You know, there's usually same manufacturer or similar for a cheaper price. So that store brand really will save you a lot of money. And then second to last one I have is snack less or cheaper snacks. One thing that I like to do is make trail mix at home, and I call that GORP, which stands for good old raisins and peanuts. So peanuts, raisins, Cheerios, M&Ms, just throw it all in a big bag, mix it up, and it'll be good for like forever. Yeah, no, exactly. And it's actually something else that you mentioned a little bit that I forgot to point out, and this is just from other research that I saw. I kept seeing a couple of like keywords here and there. One of them was bulk. If you can, you know, if you do want to kind of save up on some perishable foods, let's say pasta, right? That's one that a lot of people tend to buy in bulk because they last you a little bit longer. Some canned foods, canned tuna, stuff like that, especially if it's, you know, the store brand or the off-brand quotation marks. Like you said, look into that. That definitely saves you a lot more money, and especially in the snack department. Yes, not only I was gonna say, not only does it save you money via food, it also saves you money in your wallet via gasoline. We're talking fuel. It saves you more trips from the grocery store back home. there's a lot of factors that go into that. So,
Yes.
Hey, best way to budget, make sure you look at your budget upcoming here, especially with current financial stuff going on. But yeah,
and
hey.
Last sort of thing that I wanted to touch on was leaning on your community. Rapid City and the Black Hills have a lot of wonderful options if you do need some extra assistance with food. Feeding South Dakota is a great one. Adventist Food Pantry, Meals on Wheels, community feed events. There's tons and tons more if you go to Monument Health and you kind of search up, food pantries in Rapid City on Google. It will bring up this PDF that I think has like almost 20 different places that you can go to in this area. So
Excellent. Well, hopefully some of our viewers, maybe, they take interest either in partaking in some of these community kind of organizations, or they can even help out too, because I know a lot of them offer opportunities for some of our viewers to help out, which is a good way to kind of give back to the community.
Oh, for
but
sure.
If the financial stuff has stressed you out, well, guess what? There are wellness rooms for you to kind of go out and vent your frustrations when you're budgeting, when you're done budgeting for the your groceries. So kind of let's talk wellness rooms. What is a wellness room real quick, Mimi?
It is somewhere that you can go to relax. They've been rising in popularity, not only just in the workplace, we have one here,
yes,
but also in people's homes. So just a space for you for recharging, staying off of social media, out of, unplug yourself for a second, give yourself a second to reconnect. Some examples: home gyms, meditation rooms, music rooms, Zen gardens, everything, yoga room, whatever you want.
No, exactly. And it's a good, like you mentioned, it's a good place to go recharge, a good place to be in your thoughts. Think about anything other than stressful things that stress you out, right? We're talking about financial stuff. If work stresses you out, a good way to go and relax for that little maybe 30-minute hour break that you have during your workday. There we go. And kind of a good way to relax after work. And they kind of became popular. There was a huge rise, at least, during the pandemic, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
They were all over social media, TikTok, stuff
Oh,
like
totally.
that.
Especially because you had to turn spaces into your home, into your workplace too, right? So those home offices and multi-purpose rooms during the pandemic, you can kind of use that space now, if you still have it, to kind of make it your own.
Yeah, no, and I was actually just some of my own anecdotal kind of research here. I kind of contacted some of my old buds from college, and they were actually they were saying that the reason why they had, because I found it interesting, at least, to say that you had a wellness room in your home, right? Because when you think about a home, you think about a place that you go to relax. So I was like, why would you need a wellness room in your home? So I asked a couple of them, and they were like, well, it's because their home became their workplace during the pandemic, they needed a separate room in order to not walk into their home, because a lot of the work that was done in the living room and actually go and relax and not think about work with all the papers all over the coffee table. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And it was crazy to think that's why having a wellness room in your own home kind of became popular. It became popularized on social media and various other networks and stuff like that, which is crazy. And like you mentioned, they're very popular in workspaces. Why? Because it not only helps the employees kind of get a have relaxation time for themselves, but also helps the employers help retain those employees. Kind of give them a good working space. Yes, give them a good place to relax and kind of improve their morale throughout the day. Have that little 30-minute, like I said, 30-minute hour break throughout their workday. If they're willing, of course. You kind of make sure that they have a good place to go in, relax, not think about work for a little bit, eat food, eat lunch, look at their phone or read a book or something else, as we kept mentioning. But it's a good place, and it's shown that for, employee retention has gone up because of it, improved, again, like I said, morale for the employee, and enhanced company culture. It attracts and retains talent. It kind of incentivizes the employee to work a little bit harder, especially in the workplace.
Yeah, I definitely do like to take a quick break every now and again here. I mentioned this yesterday. I always have my Kindle on me, and I can just whip that out whenever I want and take a little break. So definitely make sure you're making time for yourself today on this work day and taking a moment to maybe relax with all the craziness going on in the world right
exactly. And if you're out on the commute right now, when you get home, make sure to kind of pick up a book, pick up your phone, relax, tune in, tune out, whatever you'd like. Make yourself a cup of tea. I know that's a big thing that I usually do, is make myself a cup of tea when I get home. It kind of helps me relax a little bit.
What tea do you prefer?
So I got this at a store in downtown Rapid City. It have a variety of teas. I would recommend it. We're not sponsored, but I would recommend it. But it was really cool. I got oh my gosh, it has butterfly pea flower.
Ooh,
it's blue.
That's the
it's
blue. Yeah, that's the blue. Yeah,
yes, that when you add citrus, it's like when you add citrus,
yes,
it turns purple. Yes,
that looks so cool. Is it
really
actually good?
Oh, I love it. It's really, it's really delicious. I personally like it. I think the place was called Spice Exchange. I could be wrong.
Yes.
Or there's a lot of places. You can go anywhere in downtown Rapid City and find a ton of places that sell tea.
Everything.
Yes, it's. If you haven't gone lately, I would go.
All right, and before we wrap up here, we're getting a little off topic.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's talk a little bit about how you can make a wellness room in your own home. If you want to, if you have a whole extra room, create a sanctuary that is so welcoming to you. But if you don't have that space, even just giving yourself, a little corner of your bedroom, a chair with some nice lighting, relaxing blankets, nice pillows, whatever you want that makes it yours.
No, exactly. You don't want to. I mean, as long as you're comfortable in it, go crazy with it. If someone's comfortable space is a white colored room with just a pillow in it, hey, you do you, man. You do you.
I personally would want more of a cozy vibe, but I know not a lot of people always like the clutter. So.
Yeah, no, hey, that's fair. Personally, my little office is filled with plants. And like I said,
love
usually
plants.
Yes, it's a plants, my computer, it's usually off when I'm trying to relax, but it's usually my plants, computer, and a book. And sit in there, drink my tea, read a little bit, or even learn a new board game. Since I like to play board games a lot, that's what I usually do. But those are your topics for today. That is a little bit of an increase, a little bit more on the increase in wellness rooms, whether it's in the workplace or the home, and a little bit more to help you a little bit budget for your food expenses. But for now, I'm Humberto de Sanchez.
And I'm Mimi Herrick.
Thank you for joining us. Have a good day.